Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? Welcome to Cyberpunk 2077 Night City Wire. This is a show that they're doing for Cyberpunk 2077, and apparently they're going to be doing several of these, and it'll actually lead up to the launch of the game. I think we're going to see some gameplay today, but other than that, I'm not sure what else. Turn on the sound here a little bit here. They have like this ominous just... Oh. Kind of different, I guess. How's it going, JT, Sir Galhard, and everybody else hanging out in chat? Armel, hello, hello. You're excited? Me too. Yeah, we haven't seen any new gameplay in quite some time. So it's going to be interesting to see what they show today. Hey, Rotting Gamer. Is there anybody in chat who has not seen the big, like, 50-minute gameplay demo they've done on this game? Well, here we go.
You don't believe in no fate. Every day digging the grave. Stepping up here with the stakes. City of dreams, city of...
Hello and welcome to this, the very first episode of Night City Wire, a brand new series from us at CD Projekt Red where we'll be talking about all things Cyberpunk 2077. For today's episode, we'll be starting with a brand new trailer. One of our developers will be joining us to help unpack everything you're going to see. We'll have some news, an announcement about a secret collaboration. We'll be taking a look at some Braindance gameplay and welcoming back our developers
secret
just
collaboration?
to have a chat about everything you're going to see. But there is one more thing. Media all over the world have been getting hands-on with Cyberpunk 2077, and when this episode finishes, you'll be able to go and check out exactly what they thought. So, let's get started. It is time to take a look at our brand new trailer, and after that, our lead quest designer, Pavel Sasko, will be joining us, because I've got a feeling you're going to have a few questions after watching this. So, let's take a look.
World premiere.
I love this town. The city of endless opportunity. Ready to get your cherry popped? Yeah, come on!
City like any other, just bigger.
Nah, mano, not just any other city. Legends are born here.
The major leagues. We're only here because Dex is pulling the strings. Doubt that puts us in the same league as them.
But we are. They just don't know it yet. But if you got the cojones and you know how to use them, you can do damn near anything.
Unless you catch a bullet.
Even then, you go out with a bang, right?
You know, you can make heaps more eddies as a motivational speaker.
Yo, Mr. V, a pleasure.
So what's the gig, Dex? You meant to come out in one piece? How about we go over the plan?
There's this prototype tech, a biochip to be precise. Job's to grab it.
Guessing it belongs to a corp.
Arasaka.
We're robbing some heavy hitters.
Thought you could blackmail me, fucker?
High risk, high reward. First rule of the afterlife.
Ka-ching, baby.
Goes without saying, we do this on the hush. Ideally, no bodies, not a one.
Sounds simple enough.
He's lead, assholes!
Is it gonna be dangerous?
Don't you worry, mi amor. We're bulletproof. Get your ass moving now!
What the fuck just happened in there?
Can't stop digging Night City.
Fucking major leagues. Happy now, Jackie?
Yep, that's fucking high! Time to bail!
Oh my god, we're so fucked.
Dex, what the fuck?
Can't risk it, V.
And you, who are you?
Hey, Keanu Reeves.
Fuck.
So the trailer contains footage from the game's prologue only, but there was an awful lot in it. So, Pavel, why don't you try and help us unpack everything that we just saw?
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely, I can try. So, what you have just seen is only the prologue of the game. So that awesome stuff is only happening in the first few quests. What the trailer shows you is really our stage, the Night City. You know, this gigantic city built of 6 completely unique districts, surrounded by the 7th one that we call the Badlands. As a player, you are meeting Jackie. Jackie's your friend. Now, they together are trying to reach out for something that is very precious. They are trying to reach out for this chip of immortality, this gateway to eternal life. Jackie introduces you to Fixer Dexter Deshawn. He's a very important person in the social ladder of Cyberpunk. He is able to provide the player with various jobs and contracts to be able to gather money, to be able to modify their bodies, push themselves to the limits, to put their hands on the chip. But as you can expect, not everything goes as planned, but to see it, you will have to play the game.
There are an awful lot of really cool things in this trailer, and there's a few that I would just love to talk about a little bit more for the people at home. So let's start with talking about a gang called the Mox. Now, we see a few flashes of them in this trailer.
Bloody
I personally
Mox.
think they're really
Always
cool
getting
and
into
one
trouble.
of my favorites, but can you give us a little bit more information about them?
Oh yes, so the Mox is one of the gangs that player is going to interact with throughout the game. The Mox is the gang that has been formed in 2076 after death of Elizabeth Borden. She was called Lizzie. Now, she was an owner of a brothel and former sex worker, and she was protecting working guys and girls from harassment, from abuse, and the gang is really continuing her mission. And as a player, you are going to interact with that gang, meet multiple different NPCs, and craft your own relationship with them, and understand what they are all about.
So earlier on, you did mention a 7th district, a place called the Badlands. Now, we saw a few shots of this in the trailer, but I'd love for you to give us a bit more detail about the district outside of the city walls.
Okay, so the Badlands is this like dead, dried out space going around the whole Night City. And as a player, you'll be able to traverse that space in your car or motorcycle. This is a space that is inhabited by the nomads. Nomads are living in different families, and they are traveling across that space in convoys made out of the cars and motorcycles. And as a player, you'll be able to traverse and access different type of open world content that has been prepared specifically for you to get that awesome feel of the Badlands as an area.
In the trailer, we also saw like a completely metal creature. Now, he didn't look like he was from the Maelstrom gang. This looked like something else. So please tell the people at home, who is this giant metal monster?
Okay, so that big dude, that was
It's
Adam
Megatron.
Smasher. He has been introduced in Pen and Paper in Cyberpunk 2020 by our senpai Mike Pondsmith. Adam Smasher is a fully converted cyborg. He was always a loyalist of Arasaka. And time has changed, and in 2077 he had to find his own space in Night City. But to find out, you'll have to play the game.
In this trailer, we do see some flashes of a Ripper Doc called Victor Vector. I think if people have watched our previous gameplays, they might remember him. But I'd really like for you to give the people at home some more information about what Ripper Docs are and how they'll be interacting with them when they play Cyberpunk.
So Ripper Docs in our game, they are surgeons. They are like a specific type of a job in the social ladder of Cyberpunk. They are accustomed and specialized in replacing limbs to the metal ones. They can basically update your body, enhance your body, change you into this walking
I don't
war
want to be a
machine.
robot.
And as a player, you are going to meet different kind of Ripper Docs in the game, craft your own relationship with them. Some of them are like important characters for a story. Through that, you will invest eddies that you're gathering to turn your body into this tool that allows you to survive on the streets of Night City.
Pavel, thank you so much for joining us. I know you'll be back later in the episode because you're going to be helping us to analyze the Braindance gameplay. But before that, we do have some news to share. Earlier in the year, we announced that if you pick up Cyberpunk 2077 on Xbox One, you'll be able to play it on Xbox Series X when the console launches. And just in case you missed it, it will be the same for PlayStation players as well. If you pick up Cyberpunk 2077 on PlayStation 4, you'll also be able to play it on PlayStation 5 when the console launches. And that's not all. There will be a free upgrade for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, but we'll have more details on that soon.
Tonight City.
It's basically they're just getting the
Before we
PC
reveal our
version.
first look at the Braindance gameplay and welcome back our developers for a chat,
PC is
there
superior.
is just one more thing we want to announce, something that we've been working on in secret for a while. We are very excited to announce our partnership with Studio Trigger and Netflix to bring you Cyberpunk Edgerunners, a standalone anime set in the Cyberpunk universe, which we've been working on for some time now.
That's cool.
Edgerunners is due to launch in 2022, but for some more information, let's go to the team in Tokyo.
Hi, my name is Saya Elder. I am the Japan-based producer for Cyberpunk Edgerunners. What I do basically on this project is that I am a fixer, to put it in the words of the Cyberpunk universe. We are a game company. We are a bunch of nerds, and wherever there are nerds, there's going to be anime fans. So it was always a dream for us to make anime. When we began this project, we were certain that we didn't want to make a recreation
I know,
of
right,
the
Sir
game.
Gelhard?
Cyberpunk Edgerunners is a standalone story set in the same universe. The stage is still Night City, but everything else is totally new. New characters, new story. I do like to think that it's going to be a great gateway for newcomers to come and check Cyberpunk game and also the Cyberpunk genre as a whole. Right now we're in Nakano, which is one of the biggest anime meccas of the world. I'm going to take you to Studio Trigger right now because we have the wonderful opportunity to talk to the dream team that will be bringing you this anime.
One downside about this is that it's going to be so late.
監督の今石です。
キャラクターデザインを担当する吉成です。
ゲームのサイバーパンクのファンの方、今回初めて触れる方両方に満足していただけるようにアニメを作るつもりです。よろしくお願いします。
今回はそのサイバーパンクという僕らが10代の一ファンにしか過ぎなかった頃に生まれたジャンル、そういうジャンルのものをまた、時代が何周もして作れるというのが非常に楽しみです。
トリガーも10年ということで、監督に今石、キャラクターデザインに吉成というトリガーの最強の布陣で、トリガー10周年にふさわしい作品にしていきたいと思います。お楽しみに。
Wonder what else Trigger has done. I'll have to look it up.
Now it is time to show you some gameplay of Braindance. This is a feature that you'll experience when you play Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay.
Braindance is essentially a recording of somebody else's experience. It allows you to relive their sense of sight, smell, touch, and even hearing, all thanks to a special device. After the gameplay, I will be welcoming back Pavel Sasko, and we'll also be joined by Patrick Mills, our senior quest designer and all-round lore master, who will be helping to answer your questions and give you some explanation on how you'll be interacting with Braindance when you play Cyberpunk 2077. So, let's take a look.
Plan simple. Do nothing odd. Don't get creative. You go in, snatch the cash, get out. And we sell the BD to those psycho freaks from the studio.
Got it.
And remember, everything on full blast. They'll spot us extra for a wicked adrenaline high. Okay, on you go.
Down! Everybody! On the ground! I want to see you kissing the flooring! Money! Now! Or I will fucking drop you! I swear to God! Well, yeah, hey... now! Before I blow your fucking head off! Ah!
Slow, deep breaths. Your cortisol and adrenaline spiked, but the soft activated your hormone blockers. Nothing happened. You're alive and well.
That was too much. Could feel the guy's pain, his stress, his hope. Hope wrapped up in something else.
Mm-hmm. Probably took a booster just before. You'll be fine. Got everything set up? Let's switch over to editing mode.
This game has got so much in it, it's just nuts.
I'll sever the link to the BD Roller's sensory array. You'll be able to look around freely. Whole scene's yours. Full cam control in analysis mode, so move around, zoom in and out, whatever else you come up with. Think of it as your own little sandbox. So analysis mode, you control playback. Can even pause when you feel the need. Then you use the editor console to unpause. Try it.
Plan simple. Do nothing odd. Don't get creative. You go in.
It's like the
snatch cash,
ultimate
get
detective
out,
mode.
And we sell the BD to those psycho freaks from the studio.
Got it.
Preem as hell, right?
I mean, the game has a feature that you can literally jack into somebody's like brain
Give it a try.
through their like
Rewind.
cyberlinks or
Roll it back to the
whatever,
top.
and you can like access information about like their gang, what building they're in, schematics. It's just,
Now try fast forwarding a bit.
it's crazy.
Plan simple. Do nothing odd. Don't get creative. You go in. Snatch cash. Get out.
Okay. You can also reset the recording. That'll take you right back to the beginning. Try it. Now for some fun. This here's why you came in the first place. In analysis mode, you get to view and even scan details of the enviro recorded by the BD Roller. Focus on the heat, the gun this gonk gets from his buddy at the beginning. Now scan it.
Plan simple. Do nothing odd. Don't get creative. You go in, snatch the cash, get out, and we sell the BD to those psycho freaks from the studio. And remember, keep full blast. That's all you have to believe in that.
Okay, right here. Excellent. Let's move on. Now heads up. In analysis mode, you can ferret out background noise and conversations if the roller got close enough. This tech records everything, every little detail, even the sights and sounds the roller was never aware of. To see the sources of the recorded sensory signals, switch to the audio layer in the editor. Go ahead and try that now. Okay, good. Now you should see several sound signatures in the store. Choose one and hone in on it.
Pack of 6, case of Brosif, and a couple of zappers.
Okay, we have a deal today on 2 flavors. Cuddy and
Down,
surf and
everybody!
So, any thoughts?
Unbelievable. Seriously, like what's happening right next to me.
Yeah, it's how BD recording implants work. They pick up everything, all the elements in the background. Then an editor tweaks them, makes them pop. Keep playing with the sound, explore it a bit. We'll move on when you get bored.
I wanna see you kissing the flooring! Money! Net!
Sometimes you can analyze extra layers in the raw, stuff the roller's cyberware picked up.
Like what?
Ev's got Kiroshi optics that grab infrared, meaning you should be able to grab heat signatures from her recording.
Huh. Hella nice.
Scanning works on peeps, too. Walk up to the wounded chick. Try scanning her. Alright, next thing. Scroll forward to the part where our artist gets a lead injection.
Or I will fucking drop you, I swear to God! Well, now, fucking head off!
See that? They shot him and he never saw it coming. But you will. Here it comes. My favorite part of the game. See the blinking thing over the entrance? Surveillance cam. Must have caught our shooter. You'll see in a sec. Cam feeds to the screen behind the clerk. Roll back to where the screen's in the kid's field of vision, then scan it. His own Chumba shot him. Probably planned to all along. Must have got a nice slice of cred on the black market for a BD like this. BD freaks are ready to pay a preem for a real flatline. Anyway, if you've seen enough, you can exit.
Wonder how often you'll be using that mode.
Yeah, it's impressive, right? It's too bad most of the BDs we do here are only good for flogging the log.
So Braindance is a pretty big part of the Cyberpunk universe. It's not just something used for adult films. There is an awful lot to it. And there's two sides I'd really like you guys to help me explore. First is the lore, so how this actually fits into the universe. And then there's the gameplay side, so how players will be interacting with it. So Patrick, could you tell us more about the lore of Braindance?
I would love to. So in the world of Cyberpunk 2077, Braindance was invented way back in the early 2000s at UC Santa Cruz. It was developed as a way of recording a person's experiences and then playing them back for someone else so that they could relive them as though it was happening to them. It was originally used for things like therapy and prisoner
sure there was an episode of Star Trek
but
that
by
did this.
2077, it's become this global media industry, including things like movies, mass entertainment, things like that, video games, some interactive things, and of course, adult fare as well. Now, in our game, we deal a lot with black brain dances, or XBDs as we call them, and there are different types of those, but the one that you saw in the trailer just there was a flatliner. Now that's where the person recording it actually dies during the recording. And it's popular with sort of an illicit kind of a thrill, but a mercenary can also use them for various things, and you'll see that in the game, of course.
And from the gameplay perspective, we have been working a lot throughout last years trying to figure out the best way how to use the braindance in the game as a mechanics. So what we have settled on is this braindance editor mode. As a player, you will be able to run the braindance in the editor mode and see different clues that have been registered on the peripheral of given actor. Now, as a player, you can slide on the timeline of the recording, back and forth, trying to uncover different clues. And that clues are actually telling a story in the game. So, as a player, you will run different investigations that will lead you to different mysteries, and you will uncover them actually using that braindance as a mechanics in the game.
So, as Pavel was saying, we use Braindance as a storytelling tool.
You guys
it's not
might
a
remember-
collectible. It's not something where you're going to go in and you're going to
Detroit
play
Become
it and you're gonna
Human
be like,
when you're
"I've
playing
seen
as
this before."
Connor.
What we use
He's got
Braindance
something
for
similar.
is to give you a keyhole into the life
But
of
this
the
looks
residents
like
of Night
the
City.
2.0
And
version
we
of
can
that.
explore things like childhood trauma, religion, various philosophical ideas in a way that you might not otherwise experience in a story about a mercenary on the tough streets.
So we've tried to talk about some of the aspects that we think the community will find really exciting, but you know, while you're both here, I'd love to know, what is it about Cyberpunk that you guys are really excited for? Patrick, why don't you start?
So one of the things that I'm most excited about in this game is the characters and the way they interact with the world. We've got this really interesting world that stretches all the way back to the Cyberpunk 2020 source material and all of these events and all of those things, but those don't mean anything unless they connect with characters. And so when we come up with a character, we start with their function. What is this person? What do they do in the story? But we don't stop there. We go back and we figure out, what was their childhood like? What was their upbringing like? What kind of obstacles did they face in this harsh reality, and did they overcome them? And how did they overcome them, or did they not overcome them, and why? And you can see all of those things in their environment, in their dialogues, in sort of how they operate in the world. And we come up with that for all of our characters. Now, you look at someone like Victor Vector, and you're gonna see stories about his past in his environment and in his dialogue. You know, we come up with that stuff even if we don't use it in the game, because it helps inform us as to who these characters are.
And for me, I would not be myself if I would not say that I'm the most excited about our quests. Like with our Witcher 3 team, with Patrick and like everybody that has stayed with us since the Witcher 3 time, we really have grown so much. We have learned so much, and we have used all that experience to put them into the quest that we have made. And you will not find really a filler in this game. Like everything has a meaning. Like we put so much effort into making sure that everything is rewarding, is interesting, is talking about characters, as Patrick said, is talking about worlds, is talking about emotions, like touching the player in a really, like a real way. And I just can't wait to find out what you think.
Pavel, I know you mentioned story and quests and writing quests, and when I was last in the studio, I had a look and I saw a notebook on your desk, and I would love for you to show everybody this notebook.
Okay, Holly, I mean, you asked for it. So this is my notebook. It says Salsa Quest Designer. The reason is because I dance salsa. and I'm a quest designer, so you know. So I started this notebook actually when we were really starting Cyberpunk. At the very beginning, I wrote like a first note, and it says pretty much something along the lines of that we were starting with a prototype. And then, you know, I kept on basically noting things that we've been working on for like next year's.
Pretty cool.
I remember once when our concept artists actually approached me, and they said that they want to take a look on my notebook. I was like, what for actually? And they took some pictures, and they told me, yeah, well, you know, because we are looking for a reference material for notes of a psychopathic killer. Yeah, well, you may find maybe some of my notes in the game.
Pavel and Patrick, thank you so much for joining me. I'm pretty lucky because I have read some of the stories that you and the team have written for Braindance, and I'm pretty excited for people to discover them. But before we do finish today's episode, there is just one more thing we'd like to talk about. Earlier in this episode, I mentioned that media have been getting hands-on with the opening of Cyberpunk 2077, and they should be posting their impressions right about now. And if you missed anything from today's episode, don't worry, we'll be uploading everything to our channels very soon. And finally, on behalf of everybody at CD Projekt Red, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us for this, the very first episode of Night City Wire. But don't worry, we'll be back with episode 2 in just a few weeks. So, we shall see you soon.
Cool. I'm going to flip screens here real quick. I want to see what...
Episode of Night City Wire, but don't worry, we'll be back with...
I'm going to mute that here for just a second. Let me switch over to Jeff Keighley.
5 minutes for me to tell you what it's like playing Cyberpunk 2077. I got to be official. It's 9:25 and we got to wait till 9:30. But what did you guys think? I guess I can talk about the stuff that was in the video, right? First of all, I'm going to reveal that I played as a corpo in my... That is what I'm going to be talking about in 5 minutes. I'll tell you that much. Got to see a new trailer for the game. We heard about the anime that they're doing, which is pretty cool. And then, you know, Braindance is something that you saw in there, which is, I got to play through a whole sequence of that, which is really, really unique and interesting. And again, I probably should just talk about it, but it's like, I feel like I have to wait 5 minutes. But that's what you saw
want,
there,
Jeff.
and the scrubbing back and forth, and the different filters and whatnot. It's interesting. It's sort of like an investigation mode in a Batman game or something, as you can see, which is an interesting part of the game. So that was kind of the last section of what I played in my playthrough of the game. So, you know, they confirmed, as we know, coming November 19th, it's going to work on the new generation of consoles. And I think, you know, one of the things that I'm actually excited about now, having seen that event and knowing the footage I'm about to show you guys in a couple of minutes, is that there's actually a lot more gameplay. They talked about the prologue and the trailer. What we got to play was starting right at the beginning of the game. This wasn't a slice like halfway through. We really like created our character. I can talk about that. I can talk about all the choices you make. And we got to play through sort of the prologue and the beginning of chapter 1 is kind of at least as far as I got in the 4 hours I was given to play it. So that's what I'll sort of be talking about, and we'll be like, you know, we'll be talking about what it's like to drive vehicles in the game, what it's like for the shooting, what it's like for the skill trees, the play styles, all that stuff is what we'll be talking about. So what I like is that, you know, the first hands-on wasn't like play it for 10 minutes and you get to see that this works. We really got like a 4-hour full-on experience of the first part of the game, got to kind of do whatever we wanted in that world within the limits of kind of, you know, obviously what you can do in 4 hours. But it was the full game that we got to check out in sort of an unfettered way, which was really nice. So in 3 minutes, I'll be able to show you 26 minutes of footage from that playthrough and talk to you guys about it. So we've got a ton of footage there. We got some new screenshots that I'm going to tweet on in 3 minutes here. So anyways, and as I said, Night City Wire, this is just the first of many events that CD Projekt Red is doing. Night City Wire, this is just the first. The next one's going to be in a couple of weeks.
Sorry, guys.
So sounds like there's more coming for Summer Game Fest from Cyberpunk. And I think that's what you'll see is there'll be lots of games sharing more information on it. But again, there's lots to discuss. I got to create my character. I'm going to be able to tell you guys about that. I'm going to be able to talk to you guys about some other aspects, the life pass, some of the peoples and districts of Night City that I got to check out. Some of the characters, we'll talk about those. You saw some hints of some of the characters, obviously, there in the videos, and like Dex, who was in, I think, the trailer last year, talk a bit about him. And yeah, there was like a lot to this playthrough, and some of the quests I'll be able to talk about. And again, each playstyle and backstory actually dramatically changes the start of the game. So my Corpo playthrough is very different than probably some media that picked as Nomad or Street Kid. So different missions.
See, I'm thinking I want to do Corpo.
Dialogue paths and choices when you play the game. So again, that's all stuff that I'll be able to kind of talk about here in, it looks like, about 1 minute. So stay tuned, guys. I'll talk about the hacking and lots of things. So what I'm going to do, just so I can prep you, is we've got all this footage that they provided to me. So I'm going to give like a little preamble here at 9:30 with some of my impressions here in 1 minute. And then we're just going to kind of like watch this footage together, which is not my own playthrough. This is just footage that they provided to us of a playthrough. So some of it is from the Corpo path, but some of it is from the other paths. So I haven't actually played those parts, but we'll at least be able to talk about them.
Yeah, technically the game does not have classes.
So I've only seen this footage like once.
What he's talking about is part of your background
but I think it'll give you a
story.
really good sense of the world and what's, you know, the vibrancy of the world, right? We got like little clips of things in that Night City Wire, but this is just going to be kind of like a raw look at the world of Cyberpunk and my impressions of it. So it's 9:29. I don't think we have to wait much longer. It's 9:30, guys. We can talk about Cyberpunk 2077. So first off, wow. I'm still kind of recovering from the experience of playing the game yesterday, but I have to say I was absolutely blown away with the experience. It felt so fresh.
Forrester, yes, I will be taking a break.
Different. The world and the characters, it is just dripping with ambiance and intrigue, and I already miss this world. And I have to say, CDPR has done such an amazing job bringing it to life. I mean, the detail in the art, and every character you meet, you want to like look at their costumes and their tattoos, and the voice work is so incredible. And it really has the same vibe as like a GTA open world, but in this cool, rich new setting, obviously in first-person perspective. It's really an incredible experience, and I was truly blown away by the scale and scope of what CDPR is doing. I understand why it's taken them so long, because there is so much to this world that you got to see. So I got to play as a Corpo. That was the kind of choice I picked for my V. I got to design my character. I played as a male V. As you know, you can play male or female. You can design everything you want, even your genitals. That's all true, and you're literally in there like choosing what you like. It's like everything is like in there in the character creator. I didn't spend a ton of time there because I wanted to get to the gameplay, but that was something obviously that I got to do, is kind of pick my style of character, and I got to literally hit play and say, let's just play it. So let me just start to roll some gameplay here so I can kind of talk to you about it. But there's so many options here in the customization and the progression of your character, and that's stuff that I just kind of hit the surface of, but I'm just going to kind of talk and narrate this footage and tell you about it. But keep in mind, I picked the Corpo path, and that Corpo path, the whole backstory in the original part of the game is unique, and I'm sort of an agent on the corporate path. People on Twitter correctly guessed, because I'm such a corporate guy, that I would pick Corpo. Anyway, so let's take a look at some B-roll here from Cyberpunk, and we'll just kind of like talk through it. So let me call it up here. And this is just B-roll of gameplay. So one of the things that I was really, really excited about is that I got to
visually
drive this game and see the world. And one of the things that I think is really, really important is, you know, how vibrant is the world? What is it like to play? Is it truly an open world? And you know, you can walk around the town. You can go and carjack a car. You can drive from location to location. I mean, it is very GTA.
covering up a thing. Hold on.
And the world blew me away with the level of detail to it. It just felt like a place that you wanted to be in and you wanted to play and be a part of. So the driving felt really, really good. A lot of people probably want to know what is the shooting like, what is that experience like. I'll talk about that because I got to play through a pretty big combat scenario.
Electric
that was
coupling
at,
module.
One of
You said it was nothing serious
one
when
of
I
the-
came in. You said you were
market,
sure.
and you basically play through. And again, it's like I can talk about the weapons.
He kinda- he needs to turn the
this
game
is
down a little bit, it's too loud.
This looks like it's a nomad playthrough. So this is not content that I actually got to play because I picked the Corpo path. And what's
That's
amazing
fine.
is these
Step
three
aside.
different sort
What?
of life choices
Got
or
any idea what to
backstories.
do?
Everyone gets a different initial start to
I'm gonna
the
bypass
game.
the coupling.
Which again, like you think of the scale of an
Compressor will run
RPG
on
that
and
is
on.
this big, the fact that these origin stories are entirely unique for each player
Anyone ask your
is like
opinion?
just baffles me. So the Nomad playthrough, just so you know, the Nomads are, you're kind of more of a lone wolf. You're kind of on the outskirts of the city, this place called the Badlands, and you're off the grid, right? You are a nomad, is the word means. So that's sort of what that playthrough was. The other option I didn't pick was the Street Kid. And you're sort of, as you would imagine, kind of like you've got cred, you've got connections, you're street smart, and you're kind of ambitious. But you're kind of, a little bit of a rebel, street kid. The nomad, nomad is a little more rogue, and corporate obviously is, it's corporate. Like me, right? That's why I picked it. That's what the Twitter poll suggested. So those are three potential backstories that you have in the game, and your choice directly affects the beginning of the prologue, but it also has implications as you play through the game. So as I was playing through, there were certain dialogue choices that would pop up, and they would say, hey, this is the corpo dialogue option. So because I was a corpo, that allowed me to have that dialogue option. So that's something that I think as you play through, you'll find that everyone kind of has
No need to worry.
has a different experience with the game, which is pretty amazing and crazy. So again, this is stuff that I didn't get to play because I was Nomad, but that sort of is like one of the Nomad playthrough options, which is cool. And again, you can see here actually on the screen, it's like a Nomad option. So this is, again, a mission that I didn't get to do. But the scale of the world really blew me away. The level of detail blew me away. And it's just a place that you want to live in. And again, I love how fresh it feels, and that may seem kind of weird in a way, but it's just like so many games now, I feel like we have sort of, either they're a sequel or they're kind of like, you can feel the forefathers of other games in them, and it's like, yeah, sure, it's slightly different, but it's not necessarily, they're a different sort of gameplay style, and this game just feels like incredibly unique and different in terms of what it's like to play, and the world feels so fresh. And I really I wanted to explore everything in it, and that was just a really new feeling, I think, because there are not many games these days that have that level of richness and detail. And the voice acting and the characters, super, super compelling. And every character I met, you were like, I want to know more about this character. I want to know their backstory. I want to understand more about them. It's not like, oh, here, some games is like, there's a tier of characters which are really well done, and there's another tier which are just kind of like the NPCs. Like, everything here feels so well designed. Now, this is some kind of combat. So, again, this is not a sequence that I played, but let me talk a bit about what the combat feels like. Because this is a first-person game, and, first-person RPG, right? So it's, more in the vein of, back in the day, like a System Shock or a Bioshock. What does it feel like? The gunplay, to me, felt good, but it's kind of a slower and more methodic style of gunplay than a game like a Doom. Kind of reminded me, and I don't know if you guys remember this game, Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay back in the day, but it was a game that added normal mapping in on Xbox, and it was first person, but it was done kind of in a more deliberate style and methodic style of gameplay. And this obviously is more kind of, heavily action oriented than that, but the gunplay is different, and I played it again over streaming technology on PC, so I can't fully judge it, and I want to be honest with you guys about that. I didn't play it like on a PC, so it's hard to really judge the responsiveness, but it's definitely a more methodic style of gunplay than like a super fast-paced first-person shooter, and I didn't really mind it. It felt like it was different and a little more deliberate, but it was definitely something to sort of get used to in terms of what it's like playing it. But it was very responsive. The combat sequences were really fun. And the combat also, there's hacking that's involved, right? So you can go in and sort of hack screens and distract people and whatnot. So there's stealth. It's not just balls to the wall action as you would kind of expect in it. This is a Street Kid playthrough. Some more footage of this sequence. So again, this is something that I didn't get to play myself. So I'm watching this as well. We'll get to the corpo footage in a little bit. But, you know, the combat felt really good to me, and it felt super cool. This is Jackie, a character that is featured in all of the playthroughs, and he's kind of really with you in the prologue and sort of the first chapter of the game.
Never heard of thieves'
Jackie
honor.
is a super cool
Finders
guy.
keepers. I was first. Listen, only one or two ways to do this.
You grow to know him no matter what life path you choose, and he becomes sort of a trusted friend and partner to him, at least in the corpo playthrough. But I think in the other playthroughs, you actually have like a different experience with him, which is cool. So all the players, as I understand, all the playthroughs are working with him, but your relationship with him is different based on which kind of playthrough that you have. And there are also some characters that I got to experience in my playthrough as Corpo, which are different. So like you saw in the Nomad playthrough, that sort of a sheriff sort of like character. I don't even know his name because I didn't play as him. I think he may just be called Sheriff. But that's something that the Nomad playthrough you get that I didn't even get to experience. So that footage is kind of new to me. So again, completely different missions based on life paths, so you really sort of get 3 games here in one. And obviously they intersect at certain points, but you can do 3 unique playthroughs with different story content in them, which is just is kind of insane to me to see. I think everyone obviously gets the same core missions. The brain dance that we'll talk about when we get to footage of that was a really interesting experience, sort of playing through that. But again, everyone has sort of different parts. The prologue of the game is really sort of the first part that we got to play. As they said, the trailer and whatnot came from that prologue piece. And that is, I think I believe everyone has the same first mission in the prologue, which is the pickup. And that's basically Jackie and V, the character of Jackie, who I don't think we've seen in the footage yet. But Jackie, you'll hear more about. Actually, sorry, I talked about Jackie. Yeah, we showed Jackie. Sorry.
I was gonna say,
Jackie
what
and
you talking
V
about?
basically team up, and they're kind of together for the prologue. One thing is, Keanu Reeves' character, Johnny Silverhand, I didn't even get to see or experience in what I got to play. It was really primarily.
I feel like they're
Jackie
keeping
and V
Keanu Reeves'
as
character
the
a
team,
secret.
that
They don't want
kick
anybody
things
to see it.
So, Jackie and V basically start the game and go through a lot of the prologue together as sort of plans, and they're looking to kind of enter the mercenary world in Night City, and then Dexter Deshawn, who you guys saw, I think, last year in the E3 trailer, guy big smoking cigarettes, stuff like that. He works with them, and they kind of work together on this sort of initial heist. So that's sort of something that they
really,
have to
Forrester?
kind of figure out and work together on. And that's really where sort of like things start out. Everyone has a bit of a different playthrough based on kind of who you are, but you make choices, and that's the thing is with this game, like there are multiple ways to go through things. There's side missions, like you would expect from a CD Projekt Red RPG. There are lots of choices that you get to make as you kind of play through. I did that mission, and then the mission that I got to do with a lot of gameplay was the All Foods Factory. It was very combat oriented. That I'll get to talk about if we get to show some footage of that. But it's you can stealth through a factory, you can engage in combat, you can shoot your way out, you can go a bunch of different ways, but there are definitely some stealth things, and there's a pretty fun training mission. Here's Lizzie's bar, which you get to go to. This is something I did get to play as, and you get to chat with her. You can see some of the dialogue with her, but I mean, the character design is like phenomenal. And it's not just, you know, 3 of the characters are this cool. Like literally every character you meet has an incredible just sort of sense of style and fashion. And like the world is so rich and cool.
Got everything set up.
And really well done. I thought the acting was engaging. The characters are just blended into the world. You know, it's not cutscene oriented. Everything is sort of happening. And this is the brain dance that we're going to talk about. So you saw, actually, this is the footage that we saw in Night City Wire with the brain dance. So this is a really interesting type of gameplay, and it takes a while to get used to. It's like sort of the, you know, investigation mode in a Batman game, but
yeah. When it comes to content creators in video games, there's actually a lot. There's probably way more than what the average person is aware of.
There's multiple layers. So there's like a visual layer, there's an audio layer, and then there's
like, I know another example. I mean, I could rattle off several off the top of my head, but I know Angry Joe, Dodger, and Jesse Cox are all in Witcher 3.
allows you to basically see and scan.
I know TB is in a number of games. I know Jesse's in even more. Dodger, she was an Orin in WildStar. So yeah, it actually happens quite a bit.
Back to the beginning.
Sorry, I gotta take a swig of water. You can zoom in on things, and then basically analyze them to get additional clues. So there were 2 brain dance sequences that I got to check out in the game. This is one of the first ones, and it's a different type of gameplay, right? It really is like investigation and discovery across multiple layers. And right now, as I played it, it's a little challenging sometimes because you definitely are hunting. You're kind of extra hunting in a way to sort of try and figure out things. And you'll know that you have to go to the thermal layer, right? And you're like searching for an object or a clue. Like in one of the other brain dance sequence, you're looking for this kind of chip or clue somewhere in the world, and you kind of it's in the thermal layer. They'll tell you that. But you kind of have to like watch the sequence, and sometimes the camera in this. It can only be sort of around the characters in terms of how the brain dance works. So you can't necessarily scan the entire environment. So as these characters move, you'll sort of go out of signal or range. And this is the audio layer here, right? So you can see that there's some audio clues that are highlighted. You can kind of zoom into those. And this is kind of how you discover things in the game. In terms of story beats and obviously investigation beats. So very different, right, than like gunplay or driving around. But this kind of, you can see he'll pull a gun on the guy here in the store, and it's this is something where you can kind of move around, right next to me. See the sequence from multiple different ways. And again, I'd never seen this before from the game. It was sort of a very different kind of approach to how you do a kind of an investigation mode. And I don't know how much of it is going to be in the game. It feels though like it's going to be a pretty significant part of the experience. Going back to Lizzie's and sort of these brain dances that you get to kind of continue to experience. So certainly like a new kind of feature. And that's in addition, obviously, to all like the hacking stuff, which is kind of a big part of it as well. That you go through a kind of hacking tutorials earlier on in the game, and I got to play through that, which is again kind of like a different what you would expect in this, right? But I think the brain dance thing was something different. So brain dance, as they sort of said, is the most popular form of entertainment in the world, and it's sort of kind of I think came out of kind of a porn background. But allows you to basically replay memories, right? And I mean, part of this game is about genetic modification and technology, so makes sense for this to sort of be a part of it. But it's basically the commercial production of memories. So as you can imagine, this brain dance editing suite is the way you're going to sort of like gain knowledge and information on characters and whatnot kind of throughout the world. So you kind of become an investigator as V and get to see through these. So again, this is kind of the kind of robbery in effect sequence that you get to go through, and you're kind of analyzing and figure things out. So again, reminds me of some of the Batman games, some of the investigations that you would do in those. Kind of piecing together clues. And then there's another one. I don't know if they're going to show footage of that I got to play through in my playthrough that was sort of after that. And this was in Act 1, so it was a little bit further past the initial prologue stuff. that I got to play through after this big all foods combat sequence that I got to play out. So again, you come out of this. This is Lizzie's bar. We sort of go into these brain dances. And that was, again, a pretty cool new feature that we got to check out in Cyberpunk as well. All right, so we're back to the Nomad playthrough. I should have played as Nomad because so much of this footage comes from Nomad, but there's going to be some Corpo stuff, I know it. You know, as you can see here, tons of dialogue options for you and Jackie going through. And again, the characters and the look and feel of it. It's a really rich, beautiful world. It's only going to look better
definitely Line Walker.
The new consoles and next gen. So I think it's so smart of them to bring this out kind of alongside the new consoles. Because typically with launch games, you get games that are
I'm sure one playthrough is going to be 80+ hours because that's how Witcher is.
Probably one of the most ambitious games of the past decade that is going to be coming out alongside these new consoles, hopefully. I know everyone's like skittish now on CD Projekt Red finishing it, but I
think they're adding
overall,
a multiplayer later on.
It was pretty polished what I got to play. It felt really good. I mean, look at these, action sequences, right? I mean, this is stuff right out of big action games that is sort of in this world. And the fact that you get really good feeling action sequences with these agents versus you, and then you go into the investigation mode and the level of customization and detail. I don't know if we're going to get to show sort of the perk trees or the skill trees of the character, and I got to really play with those. I got up to level 5 my playthrough of my character, but the amount of depth and the choices, as you would expect, are just absolutely insane. And improving your abilities and skills. It seems like lots of options there that you're going to get in the game as expected. Hacking was another thing that's really interesting, and the hack sort of scenario is something that is different than I kind of was expecting. But you can hack kind of at any point, really. And you can scan the world, so I think it's the left bumper, you kind of pull it down, and you can scan the world, and then you can pick things that you want to hack with the right bumper, and then you kind of go in and you can pick hacks, right? So you can do things like, in one sequence, you can hack a monitor that will then distract the guards, and it'll kind of fritz out, and then when that happens, it goes to the hack of the person, and then you basically, they get distracted, and then you can go in and sort of, take them down. So definitely lots of hacking you can do of kind of objects and items in the world and environment, which is really cool. The other thing is the world has a lot of emergent gameplay in it, in terms of things that you can do and characters reacting to what's happening in the world. That was something that was really, really compelling to me, is just to feel like I could kind of make choices, and I could steal someone's basketball, or I could, even just like watch a TV show. Like there was this talk show, one part of my playthrough, I think it was called Night After Night, and it was just like running on a TV monitor, and something just to watch, and other characters react to you watching it. It's the kind of stuff that you expect, honestly, from like a Rockstar game in terms of the depth and complexity of the world and the density. I think that's one word that I would probably use a lot when talking about Cyberpunk. It's just like an incredible density to the world and the experience as you play through it. It just felt like, again, every character was someone you wanted to meet, you wanted to know their story, and the entire world felt really lived in, right? I mean, sometimes there are open world games where it's like there's kind of a core path, and then, there's kind of the side characters or the NPCs which weren't really fleshed out. And this game, it's like everything feels like, the amount of art that went into it and the character design just like blows me away. Like it's literally a game where I would want to walk down every block and go into, every store and meet every character, because there's just so much going on in it. And that's a pretty cool feeling to have when you first start playing a game, is that you want more of it, and you don't want to necessarily just force yourself down the critical path. As I mentioned, like Johnny, didn't even meet him in the game so far, right? So it was really kind of a story about Jackie and V that I got to kind of check out, at least in my playthrough. So, I remember I did an interview with the CEO of CD Projekt Red last year at E3, and he said that Keanu's character, Johnny, has the second most lines of dialogue in the entire game to V, and I didn't even get to meet him in the first 4 hours. So, that's kind of
That's
like
crazy.
you know, an insane opportunity that there's a lot going on. So here's Jackie again, and again, look at how the characters live in the world, right? And these are not cutscenes. It's really well placed and scripted in a way that you don't feel like they're kind of going into story mode and pulling out of it. It all is very seamlessly done, and from the motion capture to the animation to the voiceover, it really is like it's super smooth. And the NPCs, they're not just standing there, right? They're kind of like sitting on the stairs, and like it's just like that's the kind of stuff that just oozes with ambiance to me and just makes the world feel lived in, which I think is a really unique and cool aspect to this game, which everyone is really excited about. Some other aspects of sort of the game as we sort of play through this again. This is not necessarily my playthrough. This is just a look at sort of a sequence from the game, and we're entering sort of afterlife here, as you can see. A few other things that I'll sort of talk about. Sort of your attributes of your character, and these are just some notes I took. You have, in terms of building out your character, you can spread your points across 5 core stats when you sort of first set up your character. And it's your body, reflex, intelligence, technical ability, and your sort of cool, your self-control.
This is Jackie Wells.
So those are kind of each attribute, and they have their own perk trees around them, and you can have perk points to sort of level up. And again, I got to about level 5. I did get level 5 in my playthrough. Is kind of where things ultimately kind of ended up for me. But again, everyone has a different play style. I played a little more brute force, more action oriented. There was a little bit of stealth. Sorry, Mr. Kojima, but I was a little more action oriented on this one. But it was really fun. And again, look at this like Afterlife Club. Look at the characters and look at how well placed and how lifelike it feels, right? And this is something that I think you talk about the next generation of games. And yeah, sure, it's about like raw graphic power, but it's also just the density of the experience, to me at least, and the lived-in aspect of it, that it really feels alive. And this world to me feels live. Like, look at just the animations in the background of the characters and the screens and the lighting and all this. And again, we had seen screenshots of this game for so many years, and we're like, yeah, it looks cool, those are bull shots. And it's like, no, this is actually like the game and the experience. And look at these characters, how they talk to you, and it's just like phenomenal. And this is the kind of game that I think is going to become this living world, right? And you think of just the core story experience, but then down the road when they figure out, I'm sure, how to do things that are more multiplayer and experiential around all this stuff, like the world of Cyberpunk, I think is going to be something that we're going to be wanting to live in for quite a long time. Just because, again, like, you can hear some of the dialogue here, and again, I'm sure people are complaining in chat that always chatting over it. We just want to hear it. But it's, I'm sure there's lots of people posting this footage on their own. It's not the only person that does it. But it's really, again, cool to see. Look at this, like even interactions, right? You can take a drink, talk to these guys, and everyone reacts in just such a realistic way. I'm kind of honestly blown away by the scope of it, and also a little scared that it feels so involved and intense that I have no idea when they're going to be able to actually finish this thing. But they say they're on track for later this year. But again, like the scale of this world,
maybe it'll get
it looks
delayed again. Who knows?
What next gen game is going to have this level of detail to it? And again, the graphics are going to be amped up. I assume this is PC footage. I mean, this
look in the corner over there. Is that like a DAO tracker?
NVIDIA GeForce Now is what we used for kind of the playthrough, where they streamed it to my PC since we can't go anywhere physically. So it was a little hard to judge like the full graphic fidelity of it. But there's Lizzie's bar that we actually saw, where you go in there for the brain dance. But I love that they've just been so raw and real, just kind of like releasing a bunch of gameplay footage to us to just kind of check out. And again, the Night City Wire was great as like a produced piece, but I hope you guys are just I feel like now you're getting a better sense of like what it's like to play this game. So even here, like you can go, grab that guy's ball and throw it out, and all this is like this is your choice in your play style, right? These are not just like cutscenes that you're kind of watching. Everything is kind of built within the game environment. And again, the scale and scope of the world, it feels so fresh. And I gotta say, the whole technology angle for an RPG, like
I don't get paid to do that.
first person, like this is exciting to me. This is not, you know, not traditional swords and sorcery. I mean, this is really like, you know, it's GTA meets Blade Runner meets a little bit of Skyrim. I mean, it's got all those pieces in there, but it just feels like a fresh new world, which is, we don't get that often. Something this kind of detailed and realistic. So again, heading in here, and this is actually a Corpo playthrough. So this is kind of basically what I actually got to experience. You know, you go and meet with Jackie here, and you go down to the table and kind of meet with him and chat with him. And again, look at another environment here, right? Where it's like you just want to like just hang out, like talk to different characters, because it looks so good and feels so alive. So you go here, sit down with Jackie. You guys will, you know, have a little chat here. And again,
well, this is supposed to be like a real world, right? That has full day night cycles and everything, and so I wonder if tracking like
that's all we
the
get.
currency,
it's just like even the way he interacts
or
with you,
whatever
grabs your
is
hand,
actually
like,
a
it's stuff
thing.
that really sort of gets everyone hyped up. So I guess that's the end of the footage, guys. We're gonna come back to me. So what else do I want to tell you about it? I think you got a good sense of stuff there from how it plays with the different play styles. I will say, kind of like to sum up overall, the world, absolutely blown away by the scale and scope of the world, the density of the experience. It feels like there's a lot there. I think the open question marks I still have are, I think it's really getting a sense of that combat and how that plays. And again, it's so hard over streaming to really judge it. I had a ton of fun. But, you know, the first-person shooter genre, it's such a tight loop of how those things play and control. I also didn't get to play on mouse and keyboard. They made all of us play on controllers. So even though I played on PC, I played it with an Xbox controller. So I'm curious how it plays on mouse and keyboard. But that's the one
answer
thing
is
kind
better.
Of, like the feel of the shooting, I really need to understand as I get more weapons. How does it feel? What's the responsiveness of it? And again, this is not Doom. It's more strategic. There's hacking, there's stealth, there are a whole bunch of different elements to it, which are really fun. But I think that's the one thing I'm kind of curious about. The driving felt pretty good to me, but again, it's a little hard until I really play it like on my own system to get a sense of how that feels. But yeah, I mean, jack a car, drive somewhere, go to a mission, like these are all the things you expect from an RPG, but I could tell there's already so much content in it. And even though I played 4 hours, I'm like, God, I want to do the other play styles. I want to do Nomad. I want to do Street Kid and just see how different those are. It's the scale of it just absolutely blows me away. Let me see out of my notes here before we go here if there's anything else that I should talk to you guys about. I talked about the play style. Talked a bit about the world, Night City, sort of things that we got to see. Again, I was kind of wanting to get through as much content as I could, so I didn't really do a ton of extra exploring around the world, but definitely sort of wanted to check things out. But my path as a corpo, you start in Arasaka Tower, which is this kind of corporate tower, obviously. You know, Megacorp life is sort of what I
for anybody who wanted to see this.
So it was kind of this office space. That's where it started for me, and then Lizzie's Bar, as you saw in the playthrough, that's definitely a place where I went and I kind of, you know, met Jackie, as you saw, and that was something that kind of led into obviously some combat and then some excitement, but did not go through, you know, the other paths. So the sheriff sequence that you saw, did not get to see that myself, but everyone got to meet, I think, Dex, which again is a super cool character, and you'll get to see more of him. And then you also you saw some footage there of Judy, which is really, really cool. She's kind of acquainted with this other lady who she contracts Dex to steal the relic, and that's kind of starts things up. And she provides V's crew info on the heist, and it's a braindance recording, which I don't think we saw in that footage, but I got to play. And the braindance recording is in the penthouse of Arasaka's place, and that's where this relic that you're going to steal is hidden.
Here for a second, I'm going to mute Jeff Keighley, and I'm just going to show you guys this here real quick. If there's anybody in chat who has not seen, like, the character creator, I'm going to show that to you. I will note that the video I'm going to show you is from well over a year ago, so odds are it's been probably changed a little bit, probably made better, but if you want to see it, here it is.
Almost clear. Go.
Welcome to the gameplay demo walkthrough of CD Projekt Red's upcoming title, Cyberpunk 2077. A narrative-driven, open-world RPG set in a dark version of the future. Before we start, a small but important disclaimer. The gameplay you're about to see is from a work-in-progress version of the game. Everything you see is potentially subject to change. In Cyberpunk 2077, you can fully customize your character using a deep customization system. For this demo, we're going to play a female. Keep in mind that what you see here is not final. We just want to give you a glimpse of what will be possible in the released game. This is an RPG, so before we get into our appearance, we need to define our backstory. What you choose here will unlock different possibilities later in the game. Also, you can use an array of different options to modify how you look. These include body type, hairstyle, tattoos, makeup, skin tone, and many, many more. But visuals aren't everything. You'll also be able to customize your initial attribute setup. You'll notice we didn't pick a class. Cyberpunk 2077 features a fluid class system, and you'll be able to modify your class throughout the game. This demo takes place near the beginning of the game. V and her friend Jackie, along with a netrunner named T-Bot, are hired to find and retrieve a missing person, a girl whose locator implant went dark.
Skip ahead here for a second. I'm just going to show you like a little bit of this. There's like a lot of just really good information.
Cyberpunk is a mature, visceral experience, and as such, it will let you explore a variety of different interactions with the game world. And as you just saw, its people.
Hello, Night City. Your man Stan here with a scoop sheet on all last night's bids. But first, remember the man, the myth, Johnny Silverhand. Been a year since he went on his last ride. All you gunks sitting in the afterlife nursing that scotch, waiting for something better. You know what I mean.
The job was a success, and V obviously has some money to burn.
Hey, sup, V? Look, I need to talk to you. Got news as big as my balls.
And I got a hot date with my Ripper Doc.
Come on, Aina, make the doc wait. Pull some pants on your culo and get down here. Subway entrance, and bring your iron.
Okay, Jackie has just told us that he has some big news for us, and we have an appointment with our Ripper Doc today. Before we leave, let's take a good look around our apartment. Good morning, Night City. The song on the radio is by rocker boy Johnny Silverhand. It's part of our creative process to draw inspiration from the pen and paper system created by Mike Pondsmith, and to put our own 2077 spin on it. Let's go grab our gear. Okay, we'll take V's trusty pistol, and also grab our jacket. Since Cyberpunk 2077 is an RPG, the jacket not only provides us with protective stats like armor, but it also increases our street cred. Street cred is a form of experience the player acquires by completing side missions. It is used to unlock new vendors and content throughout Night City. All right, let's go meet Jackie. V's current apartment is located inside a mega building, a huge building complex that forms a micro-society of its own. In this timeline, technology and the world have evolved in some ways that seem familiar, but entirely surprising in others. As an example, in this world, people pay with eddies, slang for Eurodollars. We make sure to root every detail in the world's lore, so everything has its purpose and stays believable.
Pretty cool stuff, huh, guys?
A big part of our RPG experience is having a world that is interactive. Here, a generic ad has morphed into an advertisement specifically tailored to V, informing her of the nearest vendor she can purchase the product. In this case, it shows us where to find some Nicola soda.
For the very first pages of food production, with bio-quality that even Mother Nature can envy. Try out our freshly developed content and let your tongue be amazed.
Yeah, it's like you're walking around Blade Runner or something. It's pretty crazy.
This is Wilson, one of Night City's many gunsmiths. We won't be checking his wares today, but you can purchase and upgrade your weapons and gear throughout the city. Cyberpunk 2077 is set in Night City, a bustling metropolis located on the coast of the free state of North California. It's a dystopian city where violence and oppression are the norm. We are working hard to make Night City a fully realized, seamless open world with no loading screens. Currently, we're in Watson, a former
Unless you're playing on a
industrial
PS4.
district where crime now mixes with money.
Very strong signal. You kidding me? Damn signal gonked out 3 times. 3 times, yo! It's a piece of shit. Now give me back my eddies.
Silverhand's debut album, that. Now no ever since, if you ask me.
Could be some truth to that.
I just saw something really crazy on Twitter. I'll show you guys here in a second.
We've greatly enhanced our crowd and community system to create the most believable city in any open world game to date. The city's streets are bustling with crowds of people from all facets of life, all living their lives within a full day and night cycle.
So I'm going to go and kill that right there. I'm going to post that video into chat. That is the 40-minute or almost 50-minute gameplay from 2018. So if anybody wants to watch that, there's that. All right, so check this out. We were just talking about this game being like super mature, and then Nimble just posted something kind of interesting on Twitter. And apparently this is an article that just came out. So let me... This guy's industry insider. So I'll let you read that. Especially the top line in particular. It's just like, wow. I don't think a game has ever done that many options for those things. But I'll tell you, you know what? It's a little bit concerning. Is Twitch going to ban this game? There are games that do way less than this that are banned. So... yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what Twitch does. I don't know, guys. Looks like Jeff Keighley is done talking. They actually had Jesse Cox on twitch.tv/Twitch Gaming. He was hosting it for Twitch. Hey, Padinsky, how's it going? Well, the thing about what you just said, Padinsky, it's already been confirmed that they did full mocap lovemaking scenes. So it's like, And it's like, oh, I just realized that when I flip screens, there we go. Yeah, I'm not kidding. And again, it's like, if they're going into this much detail for those options, it would obviously have to be a focus of the game. Otherwise, they wouldn't do this. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, for those in chat who have never had a chance to really see that game, or if you haven't had a chance to see too much on it, hopefully what we just watched gave you a little bit of a feel for it. I mean, this game is, fixing to be one of the, true next-gen games. It's pretty crazy. It's going to be interesting to see if it ends up getting delayed again, or if it actually does come out in November. And one of the options that, or I guess one of the concerns, is that if it's coming out so late in the year, it might be bypassed for Game of the Year stuff. Just like what Fallen Order was. Fallen Order last year came out too late and missed all the voting deadlines for Game of the Year stuff. And so the same thing might happen to this. Unless they just push it into the next year's Game of the Year stuff, which they might do. A plus 18 stream option is needed. Actually, they do have that, Sir Galhard. It's in the options. You can flag your channel for, and I forget, like mature rating stuff. But I don't even know if that would be enough. Because like I said, I know for a fact that there's other games that are banned on Twitch because of stuff like what this game is describing. So yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see what Twitch does. Does Twitch just say nothing and just let it happen? So who knows? Who knows? Yeah, exactly, JT. But any final thoughts on any of this stuff, guys? I know, I totally agree. I mean, this game is probably the most hyped game that I've ever seen. And the fact that it's coming from CDPR, who made Witcher 3, and Witcher 3 was the most awarded game of all time. If they were to ban this, it'd be interesting to see what CDPR would do. And the other weird thing, and this doesn't really affect Twitch so much, but when it comes to YouTube, obviously YouTube doesn't allow nudity or any of that stuff either. So if you got people that are streaming on YouTube or uploading vids, it's like, are people just going to get channel strikes against them constantly for this? I don't know. I don't know. This one in Watch Dogs Legion. Yeah, Ubisoft has a press event coming up here in a couple weeks where hopefully they'll talk about Watch Dogs Legion and, Gods and Monsters and the new Assassin's Creed and all the other stuff they're working on. And I will, once again, hopefully have that live for you guys. Let's see, what's the date on that? I'll look it up here real quick. It's July something. It's called Ubisoft Forward. Where is it? Oh, it's on July 12th at, I think, 3 Eastern, but we'll have to double check the date on that once it gets closer. Oh, I'm sure this game will be $60. I don't see them going any higher. Maybe they'll have a cosmetic shop or something too. Who knows? Yeah, you can definitely pre-order. Actually, it's got a pretty good collector's edition as well. Yep. Yeah, I have it muted right now. I'm actually going to probably wrap up here in just a second. Yeah, today I'm doing something that I normally don't do. Normally, once I start streaming, I like to, you know, go for about 5 hours or so. But since this stream was so early in the day, there's a couple of things I couldn't get done this morning. So the plan is I'm going to take about an hour and a half break to get that stuff done. And then I'm going to come back and we'll do Last of Us for the rest of the day. For good, 4 or 5 hours. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we streamed this and we got a chance to see it. Pretty cool stuff. And like they said, this is only the first of these Night City Wire events. So they said there's going to be another one here in a couple weeks. Wonder if they're going to plan on doing one like every 2-3 weeks until the launch or what. This is a Ripper doc. But yeah, like I said, for anybody who wants to watch the rest of this video, I'll post the link here in chat once again. Yeah, this was a really good little playthrough that they did last year. All right, there it is right there. And yeah, I think I'll leave you guys with that. For anybody who wanted to see this entire presentation, I'll have it uploaded to YouTube as well. But yeah, otherwise, like I said, I'll be back in about an hour and a half, and we'll continue our adventures in Last of Us Part 2. So it's 12:20 right now. I'll try and shoot for 1:30, but it might be 2. We'll see. All right. Yeah, for those of you who came out for this, really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And yeah, we'll see you guys in just a little bit. So yeah, go watch that video, and then I'll be back. All right, see you guys later.